Sleigh. It's Wednesday night. We're on night, fourth night. And we get Tamara. She's our resident homeschooling expert who, if you are in the Rooted Cafe and you're part of our calls, you will have attended her homeschooling calls that she does one every month. And so we're excited that you're here because it's been a great week. I don't know about everybody else. I've learned a ton. And this is all new for me as far as what's new. It's been a long time since we've done school at our house. So thank you for coming. Tell us about you. Tell us about all your stuff and then share all the things you're going to share.
Okay. Well, I have been homeschooling for a good 17 years. I think my daughter is 18 on Saturday and she graduated in June. That's my oldest. And then I have two more, almost 14 daughter and 12-year-old son. They are in 9th and 7th grade. And we have just recently moved state, which is a big deal for homeschoolers, if you didn't already know. We moved from Texas to Tennessee, so we're learning all of the new homeschool things that we have to know for the laws in Tennessee. And still homeschooling, still pressing on. I don't know if everybody knows, but we homeschool year round. And so it never really stops. We just, we keep going, and with the exception of the break for Sakot, and then we do our grade rollover then. So we're just getting in the middle or getting kind of started with revamping our curriculum choices and gearing up for switch over to whatever curriculum it is we decide at this point. We have been moving and settling in and unpacking and just making the changes as we go and as we can. So that's where we're at right now. And this may be a refresher from last week. I say last week. Wasn't it last week was my homeschool call? Yeah, it was. So not last week though, because I interviewed Lynn, but the month before I went over a lot of good resources. And so I kind of wanted to kind of do that again and then share some more as well for those who weren't able to make it or haven't seen that particular talk. It's that time of year where you're starting to homeschool or you're looking into curriculums, you're looking into resources for that. And I've been working on this extensive list, and I think a lot of people would like access to that. And so at the end of this, I will drop the share link in the chat box so everybody has access to all those things. So the kids are a part of a co-op now, which is kind of different for us because we were a part of a co-op before in Texas for 2 years probably, and it was just different because they weren't real set up, so they didn't have a lot of any classes available. It was mostly just play dates and field trips, which are great. If you haven't been a part of a co-op, especially just for the field trips and play dates, those are great ways to hook the kids up with some friends and some other families in your area. This one is different in that they have classes available, and so they are actually classes that I don't offer my children at home. And so it was another opportunity to expand their growth and their learning opportunities. My daughter is taking journalism and yearbook photography class. Her interest or career interest is photography, and so this hit right on the nail for her to be able to get her foot in the door and to start that. Co-ops are a good idea because they just open the doors to more opportunities for your children. Another one that we're actually part of two co-ops. So we have a group that started an evening co-op for families that couldn't make the day co-op, and or for families who wanted the fathers to be involved with the families and the children for homeschooling. And we went there, and another opportunity opened up in that my daughter is interested in horses, and she wants to work with horses. And one of the first field trips that they have going on in September is a field trip to a horse play farm where they use horses in therapy for special needs children. And so the field trip that they get to go on is they get to go learn to work with the horses. And if they sign up on the volunteer form where they go every week on Tuesdays, they get to learn to work with the horses and then advance in their skills and then eventually get to exercise the horses. And so they get to go up. So that's another thing that she'll get to do because she wants to be a farrier. And so this will be another. So I can't stress enough the opportunity. The co-ops are a good opportunity if you can get into one or start one. If you're lacking that in your community, find all the things, get that started. So I'm just going to get right into some of these resources that we went over and share my list with you. Again, I'm going to drop that in the chat box at the end so that you can have access to all the things. And I'm not sure how much time we have here, so I'll try to be watching that to be respectful of Amber's time next.
You have about 50 minutes.
Okay, all right. So I will keep track of that. And then we'll get to the chat box towards the end for questions and comments. First and foremost, I'm going to share my screen because that's where all of my resources are going to come from. And I want to start with one of what I think is one of the most important resources that you could have. Let me find my share button. All right. Okay, so I'm going to start over here with hslda.org. And we discussed this last month in our talk. So if you are a repeat watcher and you were here for this talk, this will be a refresher for you. And I've added a lot of resources on here as well. So hslda.org is the website that I use and most homeschoolers I know use to get all of their information about their state laws. So we moved to Tennessee. I've been on here for Tennessee state laws so I can learn what we need to comply and make sure that we don't have anybody come knocking at our door. So if you sign up as a member, it's very, very inexpensive. It's $11, $12 a month for the entire family. And that's well worth it because with that, if you scroll down here, you see this little blue box that says my HSLDA attorney. That $11, $12 a month gets you, it's a retainer fee basically for an attorney. If somebody ever did come knocking at your door and you had any kind of issue arise, you have access to 24/7 access to these attorneys. And you would just click in there and get all that information. You have educational consultants. You have access to educational consultants. Lots and lots of savings in stores. I haven't messed around with the savings too much, but you have discounts and things as a teacher, as an educator. You have that offered. $11, $12 a month, big benefits here. If you scroll down even further, and I noticed this, Charlie, I didn't even realize this was here, but I wanted to point it out because we have several moms in our group who are educating special needs children. And HSLDA, if you scroll down a little further, right towards the bottom, you see this area that says special needs. So if you have a child that learns differently from diagnosis to IEPs to accommodations and assistive technology, find their best path here. They have lots of help and resources on this website for those of you who have questions or need some directives in that area if you haven't been able to get some answers through any of our members. Because I know that we have a great group of moms here, but sometimes not all of our questions get answered because moms, we don't know it all. I mean, we try to think we do sometimes, but anyway, so that is there. This is a really, really amazing resource. Get your hands on this. You have your homeschool laws by state right here. You just click there, find your state, and read up on that. What is homeschooling, how to get started, all of those things. This is going to be a really important asset for your family. They do articles too, and they're going to keep you updated on what's going on in the world as far as homeschooling goes and what laws are being passed, what laws are being talked about, how that's going to affect your family and your state. So that's important to keep up on as well. They also have programs on here where you can have homeschool curriculum on here and homeschool online through HSLDA. So that is one of a curriculum outlet that you can use as well. Okay, so this is my list that you'll be getting at the end of the month. Not the end of the month. It is the end of the month. It's the beginning of September, but at the end of this chat, it has all the stuff on here, and I don't know if we'll have time to go through all of it, but I will definitely pick out some of my favorites to show you guys. I'm going to give you a share link, and it'll give you all of these links that you'll see. And we just discussed HSLDA, so let's just kind of start at the top. One of the resources I first started with whenever I was homeschooling is called christianbooks.com, and I call it the resource of resources. And we're just going to go over there. And this is basically like a Christian bookstore on a magazine or online. But they have, I've gotten a lot of my books from here too. All the books that I have on my bookshelf, I've gotten a lot of them from christianbooks.com. But if you notice up here on the left, it says homeschool. So if you go to homeschool, you have a lot of, I'm just going to go right over there. Okay, so over here on the left-hand corner, you can go to curriculum. You can shop by curriculum, which is already on here. So they offer things through like ACE, Master Books, Abeka, and you'll see a lot of those websites on my list as well. You can shop by curriculum, brand, homeschool workbooks, flashcards, write on, wipe off, living books, coloring books. You see here they're also advertising the HSLDA membership. It's just a really great resource. You can browse by level. So if you have a fifth grader, go to fifth grade and find all the things that they have there. Browse by method, Charlotte Mason, living books, classical education, traditional textbooks. Want Spanish? Go to the Spanish curriculum right over here. Homeschool help, you have planners, homemaking and organization, and then right here you have all of your homeschool curriculums in alphabetical order. Abeka, ACE is on here. This is one that we've used most of our homeschooling career. Alpha and Omega, Alphaphonics, I've learned about several of these. EJU Press, that's another popular one I hear about. But anyway, this is a resource of resources. So on this one, you can find curriculum for just about everything that's offered out there. And usually they have, a lot of times they have sales. So if you like sales like I do, just check it out. You can get a free magazine delivered to your door and get updated on all the sales that they would have on their homeschool curriculum. By the way, I'm just going to put this out there. None of these links on this list I have a lot of people ask, how do you homeschool Torah? Homeschooling Torah has been by far one of my favorites, even though we didn't use it a lot. It is time consuming, but if you're going to stay at home, if you don't have to work outside the home and homeschooling Torah was one of our favorites. I don't know about the kids, but it was one of mine. All right, so we're going to go over here, and I don't actually have an account with them right now because we are not using them this year. Maybe, I mean, I don't know. I still have, 3 weeks to figure that out. Anyway, so if you go in here and sign up to be a member, it's somewhere like $40 a month. I think when we first started, it was around 35, but we were blessed with a scholarship to their curriculum, and you may be able to apply for a scholarship as well. So they're an all-in-one curriculum. They have everything from math, science, geography, Bible, everything. And it really was a very good resource. You can do it all online and just watch the screen and scroll and click the link and then, get notebooks and write in them. Or you can print out every page in every subject and keep them in binders, which is what we did because I like binders. I like lists, I like paper, and I like everything lined up on my shelf so nice. So that's what we did. But it can be time consuming if you do it that way. If you do it the other way, not so time consuming, and it's a very wonderful curriculum. It's a very wonderful couple who do this here. I'm going to go on a rabbit trail real quick. Anne right now, I believe, is recovering from um, some kidney stones, or she's about to be having some removed. She's been very ill, so keep her in your prayers. One of our favorites. This is actually, I still use her. I get her email still. You can actually sign up. Let me go home. If you go to the bottom of the page, I believe you can sign up and get her emails. Register for free right here. Uh, Sign up and get her emails. I get her emails every week still, and she sends a little commentary on the Torah portion, and I just love reading those to the kids. I love reading them to myself. I learn a lot in just that little bit. And she also gives a weekly copy work, a memory verse based off the Torah portion each week. I still use this. That's what we use for our copy work. In fact, if I turned around on our marker board back here, you can see this week's memory verse was Deuteronomy 29:29, and it came off of her email that she sends, and that's what we use for our copy work every week. So I just love everything that we do. And every subject has scripture and Torah all over it. If you want something that's all inclusive and that teaches scripture and Torah every day in everything that they do, this is the curriculum to go for. All right, I'm gonna get out of there and we'll talk about another one. I will be going to the chat box in a little bit. I think you guys are visiting, and I'll look at those in a bit and answer questions. Okay, so another one I mentioned was Khan Academy. I'm not going to go to the website, but it's a free website. It's all inclusive. You can find almost every subject there for every grade. It's a tutor type platform where you watch videos and you take quizzes and tests. They don't have a record keeping thing on there, so it's up to, they do send you progress reports them off or keep track in your record planner book to keep track of that. That's something that you would have to do, but otherwise they have tutor sessions and curriculum on there. I wouldn't say to use it as your full curriculum, maybe a add-in curriculum if they're missing something and they need extra math or extra English, extra grammar. This would be something to use. I don't know. You could use it for everyone, but it's just something to check out. It's a really good one. We have looked at it. However, and I'll say this with every curriculum that you use, check into it and make sure that it aligns with what you want to teach to your children. Khan Academy is a really great resource. I do notice, however, that some of their stuff aligns with Common Core. So there may be some stuff that you want to skip over or not include at all. And you do have that option with Khan Academy. They're rated right up there with Abeka. I think whenever we first started using it, they were in the top 5. And you can actually go on here, even if you're not going to use this curriculum, and you can do a placement test for your children. After you finish the placement test, you'll download a chart because it'll go by the paces, and they'll say they need to start at pace 1052. Well, what's pace 1052? So you go to the chart, and it'll tell you what grade level pace 1052 starts in, and then that's how you can gauge what level your children may be at the moment. So you'll just scroll down here and you hit diagnostic test. It's free. You can order one in the mail for paper, or you can do it right online. These are the little magazine type workbooks. I'm going to have one brought to me so I can show you an example, because it is what we use right now. They're actually almost finished with what we have, and that's why we're doing a revamp on our curriculum. But it's one of our favorites. It's self-taught. This is just an example. I can't see myself because I'm sharing the screen. But they take a textbook and they break it down into 12 paces. They call this a pace. And so each subject has 12 of these a year. And when you finish the 12, you're done with that grade. They only have, sometimes between 25 and 45 pages. It's self-taught, so the students read and So again, just look through it and determine what it is if there's anything you want to leave out. We haven't had to leave anything out of ACE, to be honest, and I haven't used Rebecca because it is more of an expensive curriculum, but it is a really good one, and I believe that they do like the video teaching method. My sister's actually going to school and teaching at a small Christian private school this year, and they're using the Rebecca program, so she's excited about that. Okay, this isn't one that I've looked at in depth. It's called Gather Around Homeschool. And this was mentioned in our last month's call. It's one that I'm going to look at in depth because I really liked what I was seeing when I went to the page. And it just looks at sewing, candle dipping, soap making, bee hunting, foraging, gardening more. This looks more organic, and I kind of am liking that. So I'm going to look into this more in depth when I do our curriculum revamp in the next week or two. So it looks really, really cool. So that's one. You'll have access to the link for that. I like the name of it too, Gather Around Homeschooling. Okay. Prep and Pray was another one that was mentioned in our last call that I wanted to look into as well. That's why I saved it. And it's another curriculum that you can look into. These are all kind of new ones that I haven't heard of until this last month. So I can't tell you much anything about them. I believe some of the ones that were on our call last month mentioned these. Sydney was talking about some of these. And so we may have some in the group that can give more information, or you can just go to this little website and check it out. Meaningful Homeschool was another like that. These are all inclusive websites that I'm sending you to, the ones that have the subjects, everything. Every subject rather than, oh, this one's just for math and this one's just for English. These are all inclusive that I'm sharing with you right now. It looks like there's a little tab here that says homeschooling, and they have curriculum reviews that you can look at. Obviously, look at the reviews on all of the things. Do your study, do your research, and find what best fits your family. And you know what? You may be like us. None of my kids are. My oldest for this last year, she didn't do the same curriculum my other ones did. And if you looked at my shelf over there, which I made from my screen on and show you, our shelf is very eclectic-like. So we do use some substitutions or some add-ins aside from the curriculum that we use. You don't have to use a box curriculum. You can use eclectic. My sister was using eclectic for a long time until they just started the private school this year. So this is another one I'm going to look at. It was brought up in the last month as well. So I don't know much about it. I just know that when I did look at the little bit of it, I was really liking a lot of what I was seeing in the movie. So how to make the Bible more meaningful in your homeschool. I like that. Teaching kids to be independent learners. I also like that because how many moms have to multitask all the time? We're always busy, always have things to do. So a little extra help with those independent learners are awesome. All right. Masterbooks.com. This is one that we've used some of their materials, but not their entire curriculum. They're almost all inclusive. I forget which subject it was that they don't have or offer. It might be math, maybe. But anyway, so you get on here, and right here you can shop by grade level, or you can shop by subject. And it has all the things you need. What we got from there was a Great Christian Classics. It was kind of an extra credit that we used for my eldest. And then we used, I haven't got to piece into play very much, but this was called a morning basket from them. And it was one prize, just one kit. It came with all of these really great resources to use, and they put it together with this family morning basket schedule that they send you day 1, day 2, and it tells you what to read out of each book, so that when you're done with this at the end of the year, you as a family have read all of these books together and learned a lot of stuff. This particular one has a little book on each of the fruits of the spirit: gentleness, kindness, self-control, patience. And so there was a lot of resources here. With that schedule was really pretty neat. But we didn't get our entire curriculum for here, just a few items. And that's part of being homeschooled, is you can pick and choose what works best for you, and it may be something from one curriculum and something from a different curriculum. Okay, I'm going to move on down to this subject-specific curriculum list. Those were all in one curriculum. The subject-specific one are some websites that friends have used or that I have used and were had great reviews on. This discoverymindblown.com, I shared that last time. This can be like for unit studies if your family likes to do unit studies, or if you look into unit studies and find that unit studies is the way to go. Unit study is basically you pick a subject and then you learn about it for weeks on end. But you can get your all of your credits in that one unit study. So if you decide that you want to study about Earth's orbit with Isaac Newton, so there are certain things that you can do within that unit study that would count for grammar, spelling, writing. I bet there's something in there that you could do for math if you were working on equations for how long does it take to orbit the Earth, stuff like that. And so you can get your credits, all of your credits for each subject in every unit study. Just because you're doing it on animals of the rainforest doesn't mean it just has to be for science. And so I hope that makes sense when I talk about unit studies. So this is just a really great website for cute little discoveries and such that some of your smaller kids might like. The 12-year-old, my son would like this. This isn't all they have right here. I'm sure you can go up here. They have your products and they have games on here and they have episodes for them to watch and they learn, and it's just something kind of fun to get them up away from the desk and away from paperwork for a little while. Okay, let's see. Kidsdiscover.com, teacher resources. This is a great website for teacher resources. Okay, so you have your lesson plans on here, and this was just about different, you can do unit studies. This is another good one for unit studies. So if you have 13 colonies, 5 senses, 7 wonders, these aren't all inclusive. This is subject specific, like I said, but you can get multiple, sorry about that, you can get multiple credits on these as well. America 1492, vocabulary, senior side, to come with teacher guides, their principles, a lot of different subjects and topics here that aren't really long lesson plans, but we've used some of these as well. Okay. Typing.com, I'm not going to go to these websites. I'm just going to mention them. Typing.com and extramath.org. I have friends that use these, and their kids are so cute when she posts them with their certificates and their ribbons because they've conquered something on these websites. I will be using the typing one this year for my 12-year-old because it's time they need to be learning these things. And probably the extra math as well for both of mine. Both of my littles, they if you did the diagnostic test with them, they're a little behind in the math area, and so this will help get them caught up and have some extra tutoring as well. They're free, by the way. They're free websites, free resources there, and most all of these, like Khan Academy was free also. These two, Discover Mindblown and KidsDiscover.com, they're free. Ramsey Solutions, this is what we use for the older junior high kids and the high school. If you would like to teach a child about budgeting and financials, this is where you want to go for that personal finance curriculum for your team. They have one for middle school and for high school. Both of my girls have been taking that, and my son will start this year as well. They also have ones on entrepreneurship and different levels. There may be a college one as well, but they had these on sale last year, and I took advantage of that. So check out for their sales as well. you can get them at a really great deal. And they're online. You can order them to do in person via DVD, but they have where you can do it online, and it may be at a less cost there. So this is Dave Ramsey. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard, a lot of you ladies have heard of Dave Ramsey. Okay, doorpost.com. I mentioned that before. This is more for the littles. So if you have littles at home, and this is not all inclusive. It's mostly scripture learning. It's not homeschool, so to speak, but it is teaching, raising your children biblically. And so they have a lot of resources, family worship resources. Now, this is a Christian site, so when it talks about holidays, it is talking about the mainstream Christianity, Christmas, Easter, all this. But they have a lot of great resources for helping your children to get along, teaching your children about consequences for the choices that they make. This is thin chart. We use this when mine was smaller. We have this binder for instructions in righteousness, 366-page topical reference guide for biblical child training. So again, this is going to be, though, a lot of hands-on type stuff. It comes with a binder. It has resources that you can print and copy and make charts. So if you're that kind of person like me that likes to make charts and list some things, this is for you, and helping train your littles in righteousness. It has one geared specifically for girls and some for boys. The one for boys is called Plants Grown Up, I believe. You can get a magazine delivered to your door also, so that you can see all of their products up close and personal. Make sure I have time for questions. All right, so I'm just going to move down here a few more minutes, and then I'm going to open up for questions. Homeschoolkidstrack.com, that was something that we went over last time as well. If you want to keep records or need to keep records and don't want to just do it on paper or in a notebook or what have you, you can do it online with this resource here. You can even do their curriculum planning, their lesson planning on there, and just and keep their grades, even their field trips and their activities, everything that they're doing. You can do that with the homeschoolkidtrack.com tongue twister. Okay, just a little glimpse of that. That is new. I don't know why it does that. I'm sorry. It didn't do that the last time. I'll check the site. It is safe. I've been there. I use it. I will fix that before I send it over, because that's not how it looked last time. My apologies. All right. We don't want any privacy errors, so I'm going to take that off before I send it to y'all, and then once I figure out what I did wrong in that website, I will send it to everybody. Okay, I don't want to send that to you if it's not safe. All right, moving down real quick. Foundations Press. This is a teacher resource. I think that's what we're under right now, parent-teacher resources. This is training for homeschoolers. So this is just going to be more help for moms and dads who need to get a little more direction. Don't we all? I need direction. I still need help. Free teacher training for homeschoolers, and you have a plethora of help here and resources. Time management. I need that. Yes, please. Parenting, homeschooling methods, homeschooling philosophies, organizations, notebooking, Bible, history, grammar, reading, math, all of the things. So if you need help or direction on a lot of these things, I've used this site a lot. They update it frequently, and as just why you should join Homeschooling Torah, but they are advertising my favorite homeschooling site. Battling Lies with Truth, Called to be Doorkeepers, Peace to the Kingdom. This is a very great site to look at and to just filter through and find something that speaks to you. How to teach the Torah all day long. I love it. Memorable ways to celebrate biblical feasts. 5 things to remember as you teach your children to study the Bible. Lots and lots and lots and lots of good resources on this one. Foundationspress.com. All right. Pinterest. So I use Pinterest for a lot. When my sister messaged me and she says, "Hey, how do I teach this, and that? And I tell her, Pinterest. I find all my stuff on Pinterest, and then I share all the goodies with her. So my Pinterest page, I don't make money off of this. This is just free to you. I'm not a monetized site, but this is me right here at Russell T24. If you go on my site, my page, and go to homeschool resources, I have a board called Homeschool Resources, and in that board I've been working on for years and years and years and years. It has over 1,000 pins in it. You're going to find, and I try to keep it organized, but I add things constantly and then I forget to go organize them. So you'll find some things out of order. But like right now, I have art stuff in here because I'm teaching an art class once a week at the local art center. I have stuff for art. I have stuff for speech, character communication, music, websites. This one has only 31 pins, but it has lists and lists of websites on top of the ones that I'm already sharing with you today for more free resources for you and your family. Things for science, all things 50 states. There's just a lot of stuff here. For your use, please go through there. See if there's something that can help you. It's helped me over the years. Current events, I love teaching current events. Haven't done it consistently, but it's a good one, and you can get all of your subject credits through that as well, because you can study current events somewhere over in Afghanistan that probably has updates on what's going on in Afghanistan right now, and they can learn that, and that's geography. And if they have to write something, then now you have grammar and English and spelling and all of the things. So current events is another good one for unit studies as well, language arts. Anyway, so that's where you can find some more resources. And then one more board in here I will share with you is my one labeled Torah Help. If you want more ideas on how to teach Torah in your home, first of all, I won't stress enough, and I always say this, the best way to teach Torah in your home is to live Torah in your home, because everybody, especially kids, learn by seeing and learn by doing. They see you be that example. That's how you teach Torah in your home, is by being an example. So if you go over here to the Torah Help board, you're going to find there's not as many. There's about 300 helps on Sabbath inspiration, Yom Kippur, Yom Teruah, which is coming up next week. There's some pins, recipes, activities, crafts, everything like that. So you have some helps on there that help you get started for you newbies and even for you seasoned Torah observers, because I even still am learning. All right. One of the other ones on my list I want to share with you real quick. I'm going to skip over these current event resources and jump right down here. Don't worry, you're going to get this at the end, so you'll still get to look at all these. I want to share another Torah site. It's called biblicallifestyle.org. One of our members, Rosemary Bullock, her husband, they have developed this over the years and used it to homeschool Torah their children. And let me get in there. He has some really in-depth Bible studies on the Torah portions, and they're very, very long, but they are very good, and they are very moving, thought-provoking, and I suggest trying to incorporate this into even just a family Bible study if you can. You get here, you get connected, and you sign up for their email. This is a really good ministry to sow into. Also, he does a lot. He even has Facebook, Shabbat, Torah meetings. We had the pleasure of visiting them one weekend. Here's what they look like. So I took one out of my email, and this is on Devarim. So each one looks the same but kind of different. So much good stuff in here. I can't even tell you. But you go down and you have a study, an introductory study, Monday study, Tuesday study, Wednesday study, Thursday study. You guys, these are like 20 pages long each, but they are so full of rich meat. And you can definitely use this in your homeschooling as well. And this is just, you put a lot of work into this. But here you go. It's another homeschool resource that you can use. Family devotions for Shabbat as well. This is just the introductory study, but it's so good. Anywho, so those are a lot of the resources. I'll share this with you right now, and then we'll take some questions. Okay. And I'm gonna drop it in the chat right now. Maybe.
I'll grab it from the chat too and pop it over on Facebook as well. And then we're going to also use the same link. We'll go in the bottom underneath the video in the library in the cafe. So you can grab that as well. All the places. Oh my gosh. Tamara, that was so much. Whew. That was like a week. That's a week-long homeschool conference in 40 minutes. You guys can see why she's our expert in the Rudy Cafe, and each month she picks stuff and our ladies get to join her and go over all the fun homeschool stuff. So I had a question on that. I was just going to ask if you had any tips for moms, since now I know you are working outside the house and it's not like the first time, but for you, when you're working outside the house, what are tips that you have for homeschooling?
One tip I would have, and because we're working on this right now, is to have every minute of every day planned. Because if you don't and they run out of things to do, then you're getting text messages all day. What do we do next? I'm done. Or they have too much time on their hands and you're not home. So you want to make sure that they have something to do at even if it's okay, you need to spend 45 minutes in your room building Legos from this time to this time. Definitely have every minute planned so that all of their minutes are filled. And it's not because you don't want them bothering you, because you want to hear from them, but it's because you want to make sure that they're safe and secure while you're gone. And learning all the time.
That's good. I'll just share some of the comments over here on Facebook real quick while people are writing, or feel free to unmute yourself and jump right in. But Chris was saying that we use 1 year of gather round homeschool as unit studies where needed. So she's used that. And she said we also use tons of master books for years. Choose input, and that's kind of it for there. Any questions? Anyone? Feel free. Kimberly, I know you have questions. Unmute. Ask away.
I don't know if I do have questions, and I've been taking lots of notes though. There's a lot of, she gave a lot of resources, and I've been homeschooling a long time, and some of them I haven't seen before. So I'm looking forward to checking those out. Oh.
Very good. Yeah, some of these are new to me as well, but a lot of them have been tried and true used by me, but not only me, some friends and other families that I've known. And so I try to vet all of the resources before I add them to the list. I'm always open to more, because like I said, I still have 2 that I'm still homeschooling, and we still have some years to go. And curriculum is always changing, and so are they.
For Kimberly, Tamara, you might be able to help Kimberly. She did bring this up, and I know she's been talking with Chris, and she brought it up on one of our first nights as well. She has a son that was Cinnamon. Sorry, Kimberly.
I do have a question though.
Yeah,
I did come up with a question. But do you want to go ahead and talk about Cinnamon's son?
No, go ahead. No, I can jump in later. Go ahead.
Okay. So I actually was talking to Charlie just the other day about how do you teach your kids to have a Hebraic mindset? Like, is that something that you've been thinking about? How do you do that? Do you think about your curriculum and what kind of mindset it gives them, how it's teaching them? Have you looked at that at all? Like, are you a big fan of like the classics, or have you gone a different way? What kind of literature resources do you use? Those kind of questions.
Okay, so I am very concerned about the mindset that anything that I teach them is going to give them. Just as I am concerned with that with any TV show that we watch, or any movie that we watch, or any music that we listen to, is it is a big deal, a big concern that how is that going to shape their thinking pattern? How's that going to shape their lives? What kind of what kind of impression is it going to leave on them, and how is it going to steer them after they've heard it? What kind of seed is it planting? And so I do think it is a very big responsibility as a parent when you're looking into the curriculum to look at what is teaching. Don't just look at one lesson and be, oh, this is a good lesson. I think that this is great. We'll look at the entire curriculum. What is the end goal? What is the end outcome? And what kind of thought patterns is it going to give them? So one of the things that we got from Master Books is called Great Christian Classics. And that, for the literature, it was an extracurricular one, but you can get lots of credits from it. And it was literature in the sense that it went over the lives of different people in Christian history and their lives and their stories and their testimony. I think if you want them to know about that person, then you need to know about that person. Is their life testimony going to change your child's viewpoint on God, on Scripture? And so everything needs to line up with Scripture. And we want to make sure that the things that we teach them don't stray them from Scripture or from relationship with the Father. Literature is a tough one because I, for one, have never really liked fiction books. So, but I don't want to keep that from them because I don't like them. But I feel like certain fantasy books, you know, or just different viewpoints on, you know, what is that book, the Left Behind series? I read those in school because we had to get AR points and we had to read something, and that was closely related to my walk of faith. Did that lead me to believe in certain aspects of Scripture that may or may not be true? Yeah, probably. And so now I have to line it up with Scripture and say, okay, well, does what this book, this fiction book, say about Scripture and about the end times line up with what Scripture says about Scripture and the end times? And so when you're dealing with literature, you do have to be very careful to make sure that they are not involving themselves in something that doesn't line up with Scripture. If they can learn a lesson from it and it doesn't contradict Scripture, then by all means. With the ACE, their literature, actually, they do have books. I'll have her bring me a couple of the books just to give you an example, but they do have literature where they have to read a book and they have to answer questions on there. And so I do a little background research on the books before I let them read it. If I feel like this is not going to alter, is not going to change what Scripture says. Does that make sense? I'm trying not to ramble, but so some of the books that they are reading for their literature right now, this one is called By Searching, My Journey Through Doubt into Faith. They have this, and then they have a guided, a study guide on it. They have to answer the questions for it, and then they have a test on it. And so it's teaching them the things. And sometimes they have to write paragraphs as well. But I do vet these before I say, yes, we're going to read that. And even though it's in their curriculum, if it's something I say, no, I think we'll skip that one. Are they missing out on something? Absolutely not. You do have to be careful with that. I don't know. Did I explain that right, Carly?
Yeah, I think so. And one of the things that had come up is there's some of the parents that, you know, maybe use a like classical connection, and which really focuses on a lot. It is very Greek mindset. It does teach kind of more of a Greek mindset than a Hebraic mindset, where you're actually learning to reason and look at things from a different point of view, as opposed to right, wrong, you know, getting a ton of knowledge so that I can be smarter than everyone. It's just there's just a different mindset between Hebraic mindset and a Greek mindset. And so I think that's because when she and I had that conversation, it was kind of about that. Perfect. Another example of that is one of the days you'll read, I posted Simi was sharing about this box that she gets for the festivals. I ordered the box. Today I got like an email from them where I was on their site and they're like, ooh, things you can add to your Sukkot box. And I was like, ooh, fun. There's extra stuff you could add if you wanted to buy some extra things. And one of the things you could buy was a game. And I was like, oh, what's this game? And it was about something where you go through about your heroes and you're supposed to like share. It's like and I thought, oh, there's Martin Luther King was on there. There's all these people, but there was Jennifer Lopez, Ellen DeGeneres. And I was like, no, no, I don't want to teach my children anything with Ellen DeGeneres that I want my grandchildren to think that's like a hero, because I don't want that, that's no. So and I'm not saying don't get the box because you guys saw, it's just make sure that that's not a game I would order as an extra, because the other things in there are great. And one of the things we find is you have to kind of spit the bones out. You'll hear us say all the time as parents or whatever, we have to read through, we have to analyze things, and then you have to spit the bones out. Like, nope, this doesn't work, this works. And we kind of are all creating things because we're kind of, this particular box is not done by an Orthodox Jewish company. They're, I'm sure, Reformed Jewish company. And so they're a little more liberal. And like with everything, guys, we're all, you have to say what aligns with your home. I think this is such a great time for you to be putting your home and your mission, your values, what you're going to, it's a great time to do that. And that way, when you're looking at curriculum, when you're looking at things, you can say, oh, this would line up with what our family's mission is. And it might not be one particular, you might have to hodgepodge it so that works.
Yeah, exactly. Eclectic. So leave them out. They're not going to miss anything if they don't read Dog of Flanders. Is there something they could learn? Yeah, probably. But if I see something in there that, no, I don't think so. Are they missing something? No, probably gaining a little something. But definitely, we've been talking about history, some things that they need to learn in history, and it's a really hard thing to filter through. Is what in history do they need to know? And because we don't teach them to just get by. And with our family so far, the two of them, they are not on the path for college because they have different career choices. And so, how do you still direct their curriculum path with what their career path is? Give them that diploma and still make sure that you're not leaving anything out, because you don't want to not equip them. But anywho, you're right. Just filter through, vet everything. It's more work for you, but as your parents and as the mandate to teach our children, it's part of the job. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Hard to hear, but it's true. It's like, it's easy to be like, somebody else do it and let me go through. But I mean, I read every book before my daughter read it, because I mean, that's just what you do. And then we can talk about it. I can say, hey, what do you think? It gave us a point where we got to, I would read ahead and I'd be a couple of chapters ahead of her. And sometimes I might have to yank the book, be like, yeah, we're not going to read this chapter. Yeah. Sydney asked a question. She said, there's so many different styles of homeschooling and different curriculums. Someone told me that it's totally okay to change curriculum and teaching styles mid-year. How do you feel about that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, if you are going to a movie and it's an okay movie and you're like, yeah, this movie's going to be great for our family, and you're sitting through it, but then suddenly a theme comes on, are you going to continue with the movie because you thought it was working for you and you paid for the ticket and you might as well sit through it and use it? No, you're going to walk away from that resource. So if it's not working for your family, you start in September and realize October, November, you know what, this is not working. Yes, change your curriculum, because even though you have plenty of time, a lot of people will say, well, you need to hurry up because they're this age and they need to be learning this. No, take your time. In fact, my daughter, who is 18 and that's graduated, she wasn't going to graduate till she's 19, but because of a curriculum change mid-year, she graduated earlier. So don't worry about losing time because you have to change curriculum and now you need a few weeks off to decide what that's going to be. It's absolutely okay to change curriculum if it's something that's not working for your family. And you may have one child using one curriculum and another child using another. Yes, it may be more work, but not every child learns the same either. So keep that in mind too when you're looking for curriculum.
That's good. Chris Hitterman says, if the curriculum doesn't work, change it. The curriculum is a tool, never to be a slave to the tool. Use it as a help. And if it doesn't help, find what does.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So don't see any other questions, so I'm going to ask you just off the cuff. Get ready. Going into, homeschooling and going into the feast, how do you incorporate the biblical feasts into your homeschooling? I'm not talking about just taking the time off, but are you able to, do you incorporate teaching about them as part of history? Is that part of incorporating it in your curriculum? I think, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Amber? Okay, now you can hear me.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Now. Okay.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
your question was, and I missed some of that, but your question was, how do I incorporate the feast into homeschooling?
Yeah, like, do you have like a quick tip? I know, and we can let Amber jump in, but do you have a quick tip on how the feasts, you can incorporate those into your homeschooling?
Well, definitely during the feast day celebrations, things around our homeschooling methods get a little more hands-on. We probably cut out a little bit more of the main subjects and add in more activities, because I like to decorate my home for the feast, and so we'll do art projects where they will make decorations that help get our home ready for that. And I'll send them, now they're old enough where they can look up links. And so I'll send them a link on their phone in the middle of the day, and I'll say, hey, Yom Teruah is coming up. Here is a quick little 20-minute video on what Yom Teruah is about and how we can start preparing for it. In fact, today I sent them the Jim Staley Elul teaching. He's been doing 20 minutes every day for each day leading up to Yom Teruah, and they're just questions to ponder and little mini lessons. And so I will send them links or an article that they can read to help prepare them for that piece. And then we'll do activities. We're getting past the age of coloring sheets, even though I like to color. So we'll have to do more hands-on projects for them, and they kind of like that as well. Articles to read that help them learn about those. And then you can have them write summaries on what they read, or write a summary on what they learned in the video that you sent them about that. And then there you have a grammar lesson and a spelling one too. Then you can go correct it and have them write a final draft. Add it to your feast day celebration for next year and have them read it aloud. Last year I learned this, and this year I learned this. So you can kind of keep track of their growth during each feast season as well.
That's really good. Thank you for sharing everything, and thank you for all you give to us in your call every month. And that's a really good segue to say, if you're not a member of the cafe, you need to be, because that's one of the things you get is the community. And we're going to be really pushing our homeschooling community in 5782 in a lot of fun new ways. So thanks again, and love you.
Love you. Thank you.